Good evening and welcome to the Monday, June 11th, 2018, Cross Lake City Council meeting. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As always, we have some additions to our agenda, which basically amount to bills that need to be paid. And so I'd like a motion from the council to accept the additions to the agenda for this evening.
I'll make that motion.
Dave Nevin first. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Gary Heacock second. All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And then we also have the consent calendar, which gets longer just about every time. And so all items here are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be acted on in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a citizen or council member so requests. Can I have a motion on the floor to accept the consent calendar as submitted?
I'll make that motion.
Dave Schrupp first, and a second.
I'll second.
Dave Nevin second. All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We'll move on to the mayor's report. And Todd, I'm glad you're here at 7:02 instead of 7:10. And Todd is going to give us just a brief update on our old school and our new school.
Can you hear me all right? Thank you, Mayor, for the invitation. And there are updates, obviously, as far as the old, if you will, the old and the new. The new is quite apparent. If you take a few blocks south of here, you're going to get a chance to see what's been going on. And I don't get the opportunity often at a public meeting to express gratitude. But in a case like this, when you look at a project that, quite frankly, for the folks here, but I know so many of the folks here are already involved, this is something that truly is unheard of in the world of education, in the world of charter public schools, the fact that you can take a group of people who care enough about education to make a commitment to doing what needs to be done to put a facility in place to better meet the needs of the students. And that's, private individuals as parents. Obviously, the City Council has offered a tremendous amount of support for this project. And I've shared with some of the folks in the project that words can't adequately convey the depth of gratitude that our students and staff and for me personally with that project. And that represents the new in a lot of ways. But just to give you a little bit of my history since I've been here, Patty had asked if I'd give a brief update. And so I'm closing out my fifth year. When I started 5 years ago, we had 124 kids, grades K through 8, and we had, if I remember right, 17 staff. As of today, as we close out this last school year, we served 238 students in grades K through 12, because along the way we have instituted, in a lot of ways, a very innovative online program serving high school students. We started in grades 9 through 12. We were approved to add 7th and 8th grade this year, and then the state approached us a few weeks ago and asked if we would consider adding 5th and 6th grade into our online protocol, which I don't know how often that happens, that the state comes to you and asks you to add some programming. So we feel very complimented that the state feels strong enough about what we're doing with our online program that we should add that opportunity for families as well. Coming into the fall, we not only are serving now K through 12, but we've also been approved from our authorizer to add a pre-kindergarten component as well. So when we open that new school, we'll open it for pre-kindergarten through 12th grade students. And currently we are sitting in a situation where our pre-kindergarten may already be full. and we actually haven't taken formal enrollments yet, but those who are expressing interest have already put us at a point where that room will be full to start with. Currently, we're seeing some nice enrollment numbers already, and I think that we can attribute a lot of that to what's happening with the construction of the new building. So we're fortunate we have an opportunity to serve students in a seat-based program, excuse me, that's fairly unique. We have the opportunity to serve students statewide in an online program, and what we learned recently is that we might be one of only 2, maybe 3 other school districts in the state that can do what we do, and we think we might be the only charter school offering the blended online program with the seat-based program that we have. So all in all, the future looks bright at the school. We're very grateful to the support that we have, very humbled at what's taken place in the last 5 years. So I don't know if you've got questions for me, but that's really, you know, I could talk about the school all night, but that's a little bit of what we've got going on. And I know, you know, with folks sitting in the audience here, so many have, as I said earlier, been significant contributors to this project, and we're just thrilled.
How many graduates did you have this year in your online learning?
Thank you.
High school?
We had 13 students who were eligible to graduate. We actually had 10 of them walk. 3 weren't able to. This is the 4th year of our program, and we had 1 graduate our first year, so I don't know whatever percentage increase that is in enrollment. I should also mention that we have served now in 4 years over 214 students in our online program, making us, again, it's a rapidly growing program, meeting the needs of a lot of kids. So, yeah, thank you for that.
Council members, do you have any questions for Todd?
If those are what happened in the last 5 years, what's going to happen in the next 5 with the new school?
Well, hopefully we'll be having to figure out what to do with all the kids. Currently there's space to grow, and yet we hope that we fill it quick, and that we have to start thinking about how we want to further meet the needs of families. But we've got room to expand what we currently have from where we are right now. It's a good question.
Good. Well, I think when the school is complete inside, the council and probably all of our commission would like a tour.
And I would like nothing better than to give some tours, and I know that
Okay.
there are folks out here who can't wait to start showing it off too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I know you have a board meeting, right, tonight?
Actually, you know what? I hurried it along, so we're all done.
Oh, good for
Yeah,
you.
Actually, I should thank you because you actually allowed me to get out of there in time. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Next on the mayor's report is a recycling update. Gary, do you want to give that one, please?
Sure, I will. Patty and I met with Doug Morris down at the solid waste area down on 210. And every month you see a score report in the council packet. We've met it the last year, we've met it this year, and he did not change it. The cost of that for the city is $29,200 for getting rid of waste. Roughly 53.84, 54% is picked up on state grants. The other part of it is picked up by the county. They get some money back from selling scrap iron and things like that they can salvage out of what people bring in. The other way it's funded is basically, I don't know what businesses pay. I know what was on my taxes was $15 on line 13. If you want to look at your tax statement, you'll find out where you're getting charged for it on the taxes. But basically, it's costing, but we want to keep that up. We want to keep our drugs over here in the box over there. That it's very complimentary. So everybody recycle. Thank you.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I learned more about recycling than probably I ever wanted to know, but it was really very interesting and a great benefit to the city, I believe. Thank you, Gary. Tonight, we have 2 more commission appointments for Park and Rec, for the Park and Rec Commission. Currently, we do sit at a total of 7, which is the maximum. So Gary Nordstrom and Ann Schrupp will go on as alternates, and both of them have a long history with the Park and Rec and are very familiar with that part of our city. Gary obviously was instrumental in starting our community garden, and Ann has worked in the library for probably close to over 10 years, so both well qualified. So I need a motion from the council to approve Gary Nordstrom and Ann Schrupp as alternates right now to the Park and Rec Commission.
I'll make that motion.
First by Gary Hecox, a second.
I'll second that.
Brad Nelson, second. All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next on our agenda is a public forum. No action will be taken on any of the issues raised. If appropriate, the issues will be placed on the agenda of a future council meeting. Speaker must state their name and address. Each speaker is given a 3-minute time limit. So does anybody have anything from the audience tonight?
Pat Netco 36084, County Road 66, Cross Lake. I would just like to say thank you to the council for your support last month for the connectivity group and the bridge flower planters. Since that time, we have planted flowers. They're up on the bridges. The solar panels and the tubing is all installed. Sam Shirey is fishing in Canada this week, and so I'm in charge of checking the tubes, and we have some tweaking to do when he gets back, because there's a couple of them that are at the end of the lines that are not getting quite enough water. So we just have to do some tweaking when he gets back. But otherwise, it's all up and running and looking good. It's been really fun. I go up there almost every night and water and Deadhead and just check things out. And the pontoons and the boats going underneath, I've had a whole boatload of people applauding the flowers and clapping and thanking us for beautifying the community, and people stopping by on the road and thank you, and it looks great, and to add a little color in our town. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you. Yep.
Good evening. Cindy Mugato with the Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to give you an update on the fireworks that is taking place on Sand Island on Saturday, July the 7th at dusk. We've contracted with RES Pyrotechnics this year out of Belle Plaine, Minnesota. They've done shows all over the nation. They've done shows in the Minneapolis area for the Twins games and even indoor at the Timberwolves games. Very reputable company. We've also made an arrangement with Hubbard Broadcasting's B93.3 FM radio, who will broadcast the show choreographed to music. So this year you can tune into your radio and the show will be synchronized to that music. I wanted to give out a shout out of thanks to Joel Knippel for again organizing the floating barges, to Max Nelson, who will tug the barges around Cross Lake before and after the show. And to Kent Carlson, who is again allowing us, he's the owner of Sand Island, so he's allowing us to anchor the boats off of that island and use that again this year. This year's fund, we're contracting for a $15,000 display, and we want to thank you, the City Council of Cross Lake, for your commitment to that project, as well as major sponsors in Cross Lake Communications, Reed's Market, CNC Boatworks, and the Lookout Bar and Grill of Maple Grove. So there are seasonal residents up here who appreciate the show as well, clearly. Additional donations, if folks want to make a $100 or more donation, we've made an arrangement with Hubbard Broadcasting so they can have their family name read just prior to or after the display. So families are encouraged to make a donation to the display, as well as businesses. So there'll be a series of commercials before and after the display for that. And also the donation cans are all over Cross Lake retailers. So we are making an effort to continue to raise funds to help support the show for years to come. The other thing I just wanted to bring to your attention is that I've been contacted by a promotional company who's working for the Minnesota State Lottery. And they're running a promotion this summer, and they're trying to highlight the fact that the sale of lottery tickets provides $25 million to game and fish and natural resources each year in the state. So they're creating a series of inconvenience stores, which is more or less a fish house. They're putting one in an inconvenient location in the Minneopa State Park, another along the Mesabi Trail system, and the third they want to float on a lake. And they've chosen the Whitefish Chain of Lakes to do that. So I'm working with CNC Boatworks to find that location that would be good, out of the way, out of traffic, that they can have this convenience store where they will, give away free stuff. But ultimately, it would be a great promotion for the Cross Lake area and the tourism efforts that we do. So that's what we're working on at the Chamber. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Are there any other comments from the audience for this portion of the public forum? Okay, moving on to the city administrator's report.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. The first item in my report is renewal of the charitable gambling licenses, and there's 5 of them that are being requested for renewal. And that's really the bulk of your packet, because you remember a year or so ago, we had requested that for the renewal. We wanted to see some financial information on them, so that's in the packet for your review. So what I'd like to do is get a motion to renew the charitable gambling license as presented.
Is there a motion on the floor to,
Make that motion.
Dave Nevin first, is there a second?
I'll second that.
Dave Schrupp second. All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. The second item is, relates to the flowers that are on the bridge. And when we approved the flowers last month, we talked about we should have an agreement in place between the city and the county to set out who's responsible for putting them up and taking them down and so forth. And so the county has asked us to sign an agreement with them. The material terms of the agreement are, it's in effect till December 1st of 2020, and they'll take another look at it at that time. And the stipulations are that beautification, meaning the flowers and the plantings, cannot be placed before May 1st of each year, and they need to be removed by October 1st of each year.
Yeah, do you want to, yeah, come up here before we put a motion on the floor, Pat.
We have had some discussion, and the flowers would not be planted before then, but we've had some discussion about leaving the baskets on the bridge, along with the tubing, because it is a special tubing that can be allowed. It can contract, and it's not going to break. It's like, I don't know, very tough stuff. The only thing that would have to be removed is the pump. So we have changed that a little bit, and then we're talking about adding some Christmas decorations, some lighting that could either be tied in with the solar panels or with battery-operated lighting or anything, something like that. So the maintenance part of it would be significantly less if we did that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if this contract relates to the flowers, so if we did something else with bridges, we'd probably need to address that separately with the county.
It would be just in the flower planters as they are right now.
Can we delay this? Can we
We
ask?
can
Yeah,
delay this.
yeah.
I would
Go back
suggest
and
we
ask
delay
them
this and then ask
Okay.
them to
And
clarify
then
that.
maybe talk with
With
Tim and
And me.
talk about what you want to do and bring another agreement forward.
Yeah, we can do that, so let's pull that.
Okay, so,
Okay, that was easy. The third item is, everyone's heard of the Post Board. What the Post Board is, it's the Minnesota Board of Police Officer Standards and Training, and they're the agency that makes sure that police departments are trained on the proper policies with the use of force, firearms training, emergency vehicle operation, pursuit driving training, and other mandated departmental policies. And so everyone notices when the finance department gets audited with a bunch of auditors. Eric's department got audited or reviewed the middle of May. And the letter in here is a report to say that he passed his review, so that's good news. Congratulations, Eric. That's just for information. Last item, on there is a staffing update. Everybody, I think, knows by now that we're looking for a park director, along with a maintenance-type person for the park. The applications for the park maintenance position closed a week or so ago. We've made our first pass through those. Sharon and I did. We've got 9 applications, and they all look good. You know, we're not seeing any issues there now. The next thing is, you know, we need to do some interviews and make a recommendation to hire someone. So what we're planning to do is, because it's a maintenance-type position, and Ted Strand works with those in that position too, we'd like to have the mayor, myself, and Ted do the interviews. Then we'd make a recommendation to the council if we can agree on a person. So that's what we'd like to do with that. Now, the second one, for the park director, that's a little more involved. That's a department head position, and, you know, unless we have, we just don't have all the applications in yet. You know, that process is still open. But what we'd like to do is, once we get those, is have the personnel committee review the applications and make a recommendation to the council on the top 3 or top 5 or whatever we end up getting, to, you know, have the council participate in that interview. Oftentimes the city will do that for positions like that. The other thing we could do, if you're not comfortable doing that, what we could do is we could have the personnel committee do that too. But in this case, we can kind of use a 2-step process to have the personnel committee say, okay, here's our top 3 or 5 candidates, and then we would set up appointed times with the council, open, of course, to ask some questions and then try to make a decision on who you think would be the best person for that position. Okay?
Okay?
Would that be an acceptable way for you folks to do that?
Yeah,
So the initial meeting, is that limited to the 3 of you, or can anybody go to that?
Anyone can go to that, but I think the personnel committee would do the legwork to make sure that first we have qualified applicants and that they meet the criteria set forth in the job description. And then, you know, we'd have a discussion and say, here's our top 3 or 5, or, and then go from there.
are you talking about park maintenance or park director?
This would be park director.
Park director. Okay. Okay. Okay, and so we have a personnel meeting this coming Friday and
Monday.
this coming Monday, and we close on the applicants on June 15th for
Yep.
Park and Rec director.
Correct. Okay, is everyone comfortable with that process? Okay,
Okay?
all right, unless there's questions, that's all I have for you.
Good. Now we'll go down to the commission reports. Economic Development.
Good evening, I'm Dean Fitch from the EDA. This evening, I want to talk for just a couple minutes about the Green Step Cities process that we've been in for some time. EDA has been looking at factors that would make Cross Lake more appealing to companies and individuals who would want to come here, that would hold our views on ecologically well taken care of community and city. And so in the process, we've looked at Green Step Cities. It's a process that's used across the state. There are a good number of cities that are participating now. And so after some work, we did begin the process of being engaged with it, and I think you understand that already. But in the process, we also identified at least 17 areas that the city and the community could participate in a Green Step process, and so that is moving along. At our last EDA meeting, we passed a motion to recommend to the City Council that you approve funding from the EDA funds for $300 to install the Green Step City signs on either end of the city, and about $60 for each of those signs. That would be done by the county, and we've talked to Tim, because he would have to do that, or they would have to do that. So we're bringing that resolution to you for action tonight, if you're willing. And it's all part of our trying to make the statement to the community that We are a green step city, and we're very much interested in the ecology and the well-being of the cross-lake area. So let me stop at that and see if there are any questions for me this evening.
Any questions?
If
for-
people were to inquire, what is a Green Step City, where do you send them?
Well, there's a wonderful website that's got more information than you probably want, and so I would start there. But and one of the benefits to us is that there are people all over the state who have special skills in certain areas that are listed in this Green Step process that we can reach out to at no charge to help us figure out things that we might want to figure out for our own community. So it's quite a deal. And we've had the Green Step folks visit with us, and we can make that website information and those contacts available to the council people, and I think you might enjoy at least looking at what's out there. It's quite a wonderful process.
Any other questions for Dean? If not, I'd like a motion from the council to purchase 2 Green Step City signs and the approval for the county to install them. Is there a motion on the floor?
I'll make that motion.
Dave Schrupp first. Is there a second? I'll second it. Any more discussion?
I think it has to be understood that the council has to understand that this is part of the EDA budget, so
Right.
it's budgeted item.
Yes, yes. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor of the motion on the floor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you, Mayor. Council.
Thank you, Dean. Next on to Public Works. Mr. Strand.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening,
Good evening, Ted.
I just really have one thing for you tonight. I have some roads that are patches that need repair through the town. It amounts to just shy of $13,000. We went to Anderson Brothers, had them review the spots. They've made a recommendation on what should be done with the spots. There's one on Daggepine Road. There's one on, let's see, Town Square next to one of my manholes. I had a spot that sunk. We had to cut that out and fill that in. There's one on the bike trail in Duck Lane. The snowplow hooked it and tore it out. Then there's one on Gendra Road where we had 2 seams where 2 roads came together and it's gone. There's nothing left. We filled it with gravel for the time being, but we've got to take and cut it out and patch that. And then the other one is Silver Peak Road. We have a road that is in need of repair, and when they were plowing this wintertime, this late spring, the wing hooked and actually plowed about 2 feet of the road for about 75 feet, just plowed it off. The road is in pretty bad shape, but I got to do a patch to it to get by for the time being. It's rough. So that's the areas that I'm looking at. It's, like I said, it's just shy of $13,000. The money Mike has accounted for doing the project in our,
Sure. What we did was, we have adequate funds in our road budget to pay for those this year.
Okay. Does anybody else have any questions or comments for Ted before we have a motion from the floor? Okay. So we need an approval for Anderson Brothers to repair the so noted roads on your report.
I will make
please.
that motion, huh?
I'll second it.
Dave Nevin first, Gary Heacock second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
can I give the council just a quick update? Everybody knows we have a very lengthy road project this year. The town, or the city hall parking lot's just about completed. They got to do some seeding on it. The big one is Manhattan. We were supposed to be paving that just before the 4th of July. If it hadn't rained today, we would have had the first layer of pavement on from Whitefish all the way back to the Camp Knutson. That is scheduled, weather permitting, tomorrow morning to start. So they're about 3 weeks ahead of schedule. So I just thought I'd give everybody the update. It's kind of good news to see something progressing. And the other thing to let you know, it's probably a good thing that we bid the projects when we did. Oil prices right now on the oil that they use in the asphalt is between $20 and $25 a ton more today. So, Mr. Reardon has a report here on the wastewater plant. I believe he wants to come and make a comment on it. Otherwise, I am done unless you've got something for me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Ted?
Mayor, excuse me, Mayor, Council, Mike Reardon, Bolton, and Mink. The copy of the report you have is in black and white, so there's the one page with the cost summary where it's a little bit color-coded, so you probably won't be able to see or understand that. But that's, I can always put that up here, and we can look at it if you want to get into that much detail. What I would say on kind of a brief summary on this is that April, we did a little bit of work at the end of April with that extended winter, but in May, they've really been going like crazy. There's kind of three components to this project. There's Eagle, which is doing kind of the plant work, which is concrete and piping, but just the wastewater plant itself, those different components. There's the electrical, which Holden, the subcontractor, is doing. That's a very expensive part of the whole project, about 1/3 of the project. And then there's a SCADA system, which hooks all the electrical stuff together and operates the plant. What I would say about Eagle and their work is they only have probably less than 2 weeks of work left, and then the site cleanup, restoration, that sort of thing. There still remains about a third, probably, of the electrical work. That consists of running the underground conduit and the wiring. The way I understand it, most, if not all, of that conduit is in now, and with Eagle's work mostly done, most of the underground work out there is essentially done, which has been causing us a few consternations on unknowns underground you can't see between what we had thought from plans and planned for and that sort of thing. So hopefully the changes we have been encountering the past few months or whatever are working themselves to an end. It's always the underground pieces, always the most unknown. The third piece, the SCADA control system, that's still sitting out there. That kind of comes in about when the electrical stuff is done or nearing completion. It appears that the contractor, before they were on schedule, what I'd say is they're going to have to really push it to be on schedule now to complete on time. It's not impossible if they won't, but it's going to be pretty tight for them. Well, it may be that they will request an extension. There's been a little talk about that, but they have not done that as of yet. The last couple weeks, Ted has raised some concern over one change in particular, change order, and I think in general, maybe the number of changes that we've been experiencing out there. He feels that there might be more than what he feels comfortable with, but in particular, change order number 8, which is proposed, that deals with installing a transfer switch in the Public Works facility building. So the new generator, which would be put in to run the plant, was also intended to supply emergency power to the Public Works facility building during power outages. And to do that, there needs to be a transfer switch at that location. There's also one at the wastewater plant for that facility. What we had intended there or thought we could do, they're not able to do because the underground wiring wasn't the way that we had thought it to be. So there needs to be some discussion over that at the Public Works Commission meeting last week. We talked about that for quite a period of time, and it was felt that we needed to sit down and just talk that through so that group could have a much better understanding of it and bring a recommendation back to the council. That work does not have to be done. That could be pulled out of the project. I don't think that, my understanding is Ted doesn't feel that's wise to do. I guess Bolton and Mink doesn't feel that's wise to do. We think that's a pretty important part of the project. So I think the question is, can we get a change order that the council feels comfortable with, the city feels comfortable with, gets done what you need to have done at the least cost. So that would be our discussion. Right now, we've tentatively got a date of Wednesday, the 20th, set up for that, and I believe Dave Schrupp and Dave Nevin, probably Mike Linnaeus and Ted would be there, along with reps from Bolton and Mink, the electrical engineer, and then our contractor. And I think we should do that at the Public Works facility building right there where the work's going to be done. So anyway, I think that's, you needed to know that is happening in the background. We'll come back to you later on with the results of that meeting and that change order, or what's recommended. I don't believe that the rest of the change orders, there's any controversy with those. It's probably just a matter of, there's a few there, quite a few there. We're up to 10 of them, I believe, and some of them have multiple lines on those. I would be happy to sit and go over all of those, or any of those that there's questions on. I feel fairly comfortable on all these here. And I think that there could be a couple of those we also discuss a little bit further in that meeting on the 20th there, and instead of just solely number 8.
On June 20th, you said?
What was that, Mayor?
On June 20th,
June 20th, right,
at the Public Works,
at 3 p.m.,
3
correct?
PM? Okay.
So in summary, all those changes, if the council would approve them as proposed, would total 61,000. Let's see here. Just when I need the number, I can't find it very quickly.
61,613.
61,613. So you've already approved about 12,400, and that's been paid for. And there's some others which have basically been approved either by you or by staff. They have to be done. There's no option on that. Those are all, they probably total about $7,000 or $8,000. So there's only this one large one for about 30,000, which I think is a question mark on that, or part of that. That cost summary gives all the detail on those, and also how those are originated and whether they're required or optional. That was in the upper right corner of that, the last sheet of my report there. It talks about every one of the change orders, the amount, and then some are required, some are optional, who requested them, and that sort of thing. Doesn't give detail there, but the detail is in the report on a number of these.
Does anybody have any questions for Mike? Thank you. City Attorney report.
No report.
We are now again at our second public forum. No action will be taken on any of the issues raised. If appropriate, the issues will be placed on agenda of a future council meeting. Speaker must state their name and address. Each speaker is given a 3-minute time limit. Is there anybody from the audience who would like to come to the podium? And please state your name and address.
Mark Lindner, Pine Lure Drive, 16543. And I've noticed, because neighbors have asked me, the signs at the county and city area for brush drop-off have stopped the process. And when I first bought here in my property in '96, you didn't allow people to use the brush drop-off. So I would always have fires when I was clearing my property and pull the DNR permits for fires and everything. I just wanted to thank the city. It's been amazing the last few years. Last summer, we had 5 power outages on our road alone. It's a private road, not that I like that. I wish the city would have our road, but I'd go out and take the trees that the growing power would push off to the side of the road, and I would haul them myself up here and drop them off. It was amazing. Thank you. But now that it's stopped, I've heard that it's because there are contractors that are using it, and I myself have observed that. Because last year, when I was bringing probably 5 pickup loads up the week of one of the power outages when trees were down in the road, I stopped and asked John, I said, I'm seeing a lot of contractors with their huge trailers, pneumatic lifts on them, dumping everything in there. And he said, no, they're not supposed to. So I actually approached one of them. And I almost had my head taken off because I asked what his company was. And I won't go into a lot of detail. But if you want more, I could give it to you because he volunteers for the city. But anyway, I was pretty disappointed seeing all the companies in there using it, because that is a valuable tool for city residents. I'd like to see it continue. I want to thank the city. It's been amazing. I don't know if you can continue with corporations or companies using it. If you could have a way to stop that, it'd be great. But I can attest to the fact that I've witnessed multiple companies in there dumping their trees. I have actually let my neighbors use my small trailer to bring their brush and bring their stuff up. It is a great asset for residents of the city to be able to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else from the audience on Public Works?
Richard Idy, 38083, County Road 66. Just wondering if there's been any movement forward on the expansion of the city sewer and where that might lie. I know those of us at Moonlight Bay are concerned about where it's headed and where it's going, and just wondering if, what our best plan of action is for that.
Either Ted or Dave, do you have any comments or updates?
Are we allowed to? No? Yeah, I
Oh,
guess we
no,
are.
that's right.
No, we
Sorry.
talked
Thank
about
you.
it at the last Public Works meeting, which was a couple Mondays ago.
Yeah.
And Mike is going to get a hold of a guy that he knows, a firm that he knows that understands how cities go about expanding their sewer. And I'm going to sit down and talk to a few of us so that we can have some more education on how this is done, because none of us have had experience on this in the past. So we are talking about it, and we are fully aware of your situation. And the other thing that we're fully aware of that I think a lot of the citizens need to understand is that there's going to be some costs that the city can't bear with, just moving the levy up for everything. I think there's going to have to be assessments that are going to have to be passed out to benefiting residents that might get, a sewer extension. So we
And that is
haven't gone into
yes.
any of that
And
yet,
that is
so.
probably more than you were supposed to know tonight, because as it says, no issues will be taken up under Public Works. So,
All right, my one only other comment was I did hear some just kind of speculation thrown out there that there possibly could be like a, fraction of a % of a tax that the city could add. And this was just over normal conversation that, maybe it's I don't know, the city of Minneapolis has an entertainment tax that taxes, bars, restaurants, Vikings tickets, all that kind of stuff that gets added into a fund and, I don't know how it all goes down, but I don't think that would be a bad idea for the city of Cross Lake. I think we have a lot of people that, if you talk to Ted about when the sewer treatment plant peaks, and when that is needed the most, it isn't necessarily our, property taxpayers that are the ones that are causing that spike. So if there was, I don't want to tax the people just for coming into our city, but if there's a way to, get a small fraction of, every dollar that comes through that could help pay for those bulk increases that we see as the year goes by, I don't think that would be a horrible idea as a way to help offset those costs of expanding the sewer treatment or the sewer system. Just my 2 cents.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else from the audience for public forum? Is there any old business? Is there any new business?
I guess the only new business is we need to kind of address that sewer one way or another,
Yes, yes.
sooner than later. It
Yep.
kind of drags
agree.
out and
Yep.
rolls down.
Thank you.
So
Sounds
So
good.
when is that, you going to set up a meeting for that, Mike? And we're going to try to do that in the next couple weeks or something, or you're waiting to hear from some of your people? Things just seem to go month after month and nothing happens, so I would just encourage to.
Okay, good. Thank you, David. Any other new business? If not, this meeting is adjourned.